Do you want the best fan-made content for this Premier League season?
Bringing that real fan experience. Want to see some crazy?
Wherever you are in the world,
bringing you the latest opinions
and fan reactions.
Back again.
Welcome to FanPark Live.
Brand new shows every week.
The UFF are going hard this year, you know. So make sure you lock in.
Tell them, Reggie, come on!
Real fan opinions brought to you by Wash and Go. Hello and welcome to Monday's Mass Debate on FanPark Live in association with the Ultimate Football Fan. I'm joined tonight again by my main man, Claude. We all know him from... Oh, he went for the high five. Sorry, I left him hanging. We all know him from AFTV, one of the most outspoken YouTubers there is. We're obviously an hour away from kickoff between Manchester United hosting Spurs. Man United's starting lineup is out, by the way. Paul Pogba, not the captain this week, but Antonio Valencia is back. That's why. So he is the club captain. Jones and Smalling start. Eric Bailly completely dropped from the Manchester United team. Victor Lindelof on the bench. No Andreas Pereira in central midfield either. He's not even on the bench. Matic comes straight back in. So does Herrera. Fred starts. Pogba starts. Interesting looking Man United team. Not too sure on the formation with who's out there, but we'll touch... Alexis on the bench. Alexis on the bench tonight. Martial not even on the bench either. There is going to be carnage. Before there's even been a ball kick, there is... I know that Man United Twitter is on fire right now because of the team news that's come out. But we're here to talk about and have a bit of a roundup of the weekend's football. We want to hear from you on 0203 606 0135. The number is in 0315. I keep saying it wrong. But anyway, the number's in the description below. Give us a call. We want to hear... We're going to be talking a bit about Arsenal's performance this weekend. We're going to touch on Wolverhampton Wanderers getting a point on Manchester City. We're going to speak about Fulham as well and their brilliant game yesterday, winning 4-2. Touch a bit on Everton, Bournemouth as well. And of course, take your calls on Man United versus Tottenham. That's kicking off in 55 minutes' time. But we'll jump straight into the Arsenal situation. Claude, you picked up your first points on Saturday against West Ham. We've all watched your fan cam. We've heard what you've had to say. 48 hours or so to reflect. How are you feeling after picking up your first 3 points?
Relieved. It didn't look good after when they took the lead and they looked quite impressive, West Ham, in the first half. I thought they controlled the game in the first half, but we got back into it 1-1 at half time. Second half, I think he made the right substitutions and we ended up winning the game. I've got a lucky goal to take the lead, but, you know, maybe you need that bit of luck to get your season started. But overall, I'm happy with the result. I'm not too sure about the performance. Wasn't great. It was. I don't think it's as good as the first two games actually were better, even though we lost. But I thought... I'm just relieved to get 3 points, but still, the frailties are at the back still, and that's got to be sorted out.
Yeah, I get that completely. I think that there's still a huge work in progress, Arsenal, there's no doubt about it. When you look at West Ham in that game, they've had a torrid start under Pellegrini. Their new players haven't really settled. You know, they could have scored a few more goals against you. Do you think West Ham fans should be worried about their start to the campaign, or do you think that they will sort of level out as the season goes on and they'll start to perform again?
Well, I was impressed with them, and especially the first half. But for the finishing wasn't there, but they created the chances, and I thought Anderson was commanding the midfield quite well. You know, Sonny Anderson, and they were doing really well. And then they took their main player off in the second half, and that's when it went all downhill for them. But I was quite impressed with them. And you've got to remember they bought 10 players, 11 players. It's very difficult to adjust them all in at once, isn't it? But I still think they showed a lot of good signs there. But they need to improve on their finishing, and maybe they're a bit poor at the back in the end. But listen, I think it's early days, and I think they'll be mid-table. I really do. I don't think they'll be near the bottom. They've got a good manager, by the way, so I think they'll be mid-table.
Yeah, like, I think West Ham will end up being all right. I understand what you're saying about your team and your game and your performance. Do you feel that... Again, I watched your fan cam, and there was a lot of people. There was a gentleman that jumped into it, and he was very much attacking you for not criticising Wenger. I wouldn't call it criticising Wenger. I think you're stating the point that Emery needs time because of the mess that Wenger created. Yeah. But then he very much was vehemently defending. He was very much vehemently defending Ozil, stating that, you know, I heard someone shout out, you know, Wenger's the one that's made him lazy. You know, he needs more time. Where do you sit with the Ozil situation? Yeah, because for me, you looked a better team without him on Saturday. And
at the same time, he's contradicting himself there, as you say. He's saying Wenger's made him lazy. And when I criticised Wenger for that sort of thing, he said I was in the wrong. So, well, listen, I say it as it is. I think the manager that's come in now is all right. He's made a few team selections wrong in the first couple of games. Yeah. I agree, but he's inherited a real mess there, and you can see that mess. And they still have that. There's still certain players that still got the Wenger mentality, and that's why we're still making plenty of mistakes. So, but it's going to need time. It's going to need time for him to get it right, and he's going to have his own players in as well. He's still got a lot of players there that are not his players.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think that Arsenal fans need to be patient with him. No doubt about that in my mind. I would expect it's just going to be a slow burner, and I think that anyone that is expecting amazing football overnight, that is expecting the world to change overnight, is crazy. It's a very different situation to, say, Sarri and Chelsea, where they've got a team that's won Premier League titles in the last 4 or 5 years. You're talking about a team that, look, the FA Cup's an amazing competition to win, and Arsenal done fantastically well to win so many in the last sort of 5-6 years. But apart from that, you haven't really challenged in the league. You've gone nowhere in Europe. In sort of the major European competitions. You've not been a powerhouse competitor in sort of the mini little top 6 leagues. So for that to turn around and change in the space of one summer, I think anyone expected it to. It set unrealistic expectations massively. Have we got any calls lined up, Javern? Let's get some calls straight in the air. Let's see what some of these viewers have got to say. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
David.
Hello, David. Who do you support, mate?
Arsenal.
Arsenal, mate. What do you want to say? What's on your mind?
Cool about maybe like expanding his TV channel, or his basic YouTube input, actually pushing himself away from Robbie and from Arsenal Fan TV, whether that would be a possibility. Because obviously, I mean, Robbie's a great guy and brilliant what he's done, but he's a little bit establishment now. And we need people like Claude to actually change that around a little bit and make it a little bit more kind of like fan-based, not just simply based.
Sorry, your line's a little bit crackly. Let me just reiterate what I think I heard. You think that people like Claude should pull away from Robbie and Arsenal Fan TV because they're a little bit establishment now?
That's it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And what makes them establishment to you?
Well, I think Robbie's a little bit, but Robbie does a very good job, and I'm really, really grateful for what he's done. But he's a little bit on along the line. Whereas with people like Claude actually do speak from the fans' point of view more than wondering and worrying about what the club are going to think or what the establishment are going to think. Whereas people like Claude, basically Claude's more the voice of a genuine fan than Robbie is now.
But Robbie doesn't. When Robbie does fan cams, Robbie's not on there to give his opinion as such. He's there to ask you questions.
Please, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be too harsh. It's just that I think that's what happens when you become the establishment. Now, Robbie's now Arsenal Fan TV. He always tries to be very diplomatic. Don't want to be too harsh on the man, but I think people like Claude are a little bit more passionate because they are outside that, and I just feel that people like Claude really should be trying to push a little bit of alternative from Robbie, about actually pushing him more leftward, if you like, more anti the club, because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's how we got ourselves in a situation in the first place, is by basically not, Arsenal Fan TV came about from fans not getting a voice. And people like Claude are the ones that really are the ones that are the genuine fans. Because Robbie's a great bloke, and he feels it, but you don't really know what he really thinks. because he's always looking at the other side about getting into the press and getting into the establishment view of things. And you just feel that way with Robbie. I mean, I think don't get me wrong, I really respect him, but
why? But why would you want me to pull away then? If you think, why would you want me to pull away? Did you say you wanted me to pull away from it?
I want you to pull on and think about actually just like because you are the person that actually speaks. You're one of the fans that actually tells it as it is, and
but that's the point. But that's the point of the channel, isn't it? Robbie is what Robbie is. He has his opinions and he has his demeanour. The point of Arsenal Fan TV is that you have people like Ty, like Claude, like DT, and then they're the ones who are very popular and well known. If you watch it every week and watch and I watch a lot of the people talk that, with all due respect, I don't know who they are. That's the point of the channel. There are varied opinions. If people were to stop. If people like Claude were to break away and do something different, then you actually do make AFTV the establishment because you take away the alternative viewpoints and opinions.
But would they? If say, for instance, like Claude is a focus, yeah, of somebody who's more don't accept what the club's saying, yeah, then I'm not sure if AFTV Robbie Channel would be that. I think what Robbie done was a really brilliant thing. And what the supporters know, not just Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, Spurs a lot, all the people now are actually coming to us, they'll come to you for their opinions, not the establishment anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah? It's all really good, yeah? It's all a flux, though. And I think people like Claude can't not be honest. Whereas Robbie is diplomatic, and I respect that, and I understand that. And people like Claude, I think, need to, and other supporters like him, not just him, and all the other clubs, need to be actually have a voice more to encourage people to speak a little bit less diplomatic. And I don't really do respect what Robbie's done. I really do.
All right, mate. Listen, appreciate your call. Listen, appreciate the mate. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. We'll get some more people on the air, but thank you. I don't really understand what he was saying in terms of. You either Robbie is the establishment and you should pull away, or people like you need to be given more of a mouthpiece. You get a lot of talk. For me, you get a lot of airtime on AFTV, and it isn't about any one individual person. I think if anybody wants to come and speak, they get an opportunity to. Look, Robbie is what Robbie is, but I've certainly sat in here with Robbie on my show, and Robbie's given out some huge opinions. But Robbie is, for me, he is the mediator when it comes to.
I think I know what he's saying. I think he'd rather have he would rather people talking more as a fan, right, than having people talking towing the line.
But who's towing the line on AFTV in your opinion?
Well, I'm not going to go into
it.
Well,
no, go for it. Tell me, because you can't leave it at that. Who's towing the line? Who's speaking for the club rather than the fans on AFTV?
I think some people are just changing their views to suit the agenda, to suit what they want their people to follow them on.
Well, that's the Overton window for you. What becomes, the Overton window will move and change at all times. But look, I don't really understand what that guy was. That's nothing to do with AFTV. AFTV is a platform for people to use to express their opinions, and people are entitled to say whatever it is they want. The same as this show here, Monday Mass Debate, or whether it's FanPark Live. If you want to come on and give your opinion, your opinions are welcome. The only difference with me as a host is that I will challenge your opinion if I think you're wrong, and not everybody works like that. But listen, more calls whenever they are ready. We're going to get them on the air.
See, the thing is.
Let's grab this call. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. What's your name?
Oh, my name's Nick.
Hello, Nick. Who do you support, mate?
I'm a Spurs fan.
Good, good. What's on your mind? What do you want to say?
Sorry, is this Terry speaking?
Yes, it is, mate.
Right. I just want to say how confident I am for today, mate. Honestly, I think we're going to smash you.
Mate, I think you're going to beat us as well, to be honest. I don't have that much confidence tonight. I think that Spurs, phenomenally good team, started the campaign very well. Best number 9 striker in world football. Very talented manager in Pochettino. And you're playing Man United at exactly the right time. You really, really are. There's no doubt about that in any way, shape, or form.
What's their record at Old Trafford like?
The record for me, Spurs' record at Old Trafford is irrelevant because this is a different Spurs outfit to what played there over the course of the other 20 odd years of the Premier League. Do you have any reservations about tonight as a Spurs fan? Is there anything about this Manchester United team that worries you or concerns you at all?
Nothing, mate. Honestly, I think we're going to smash you. I think it's going to be about 4-0.
4-0 to Spurs tonight, you think?
Easily. And Claude, mate, you're saying about our record at Old Trafford, mate. What's your record at Old Trafford as well, mate?
Crap, mate. Well, I admit. Nick, listen, mate. I hate Spurs, but I think they're one of the. I've changed my opinion. I've watched the first few games, and I think you alongside Liverpool are Man City's main challengers this year. Here you go.
Where do you think Arsenal's going to finish?
Eh?
Where do you reckon Arsenal's going to finish tonight?
I think if we finish in the I think because of the mess that this last manager's left us in, if we finish in the top 6, we've done well.
Honestly, I think you're not going to finish like 8th or 9th, to be honest.
This Spurs fan is throwing shapes tonight. He's throwing shapes.
I'm being honest, mate. I'm being honest. I think you lot are rubbish, mate. Like, your defence is terrible, mate.
Well, yeah.
Listen, do you know
listen, it's early days, yeah. We've just got a new manager.
Do you know what I'd say on this. I think look. I obviously as a Spurs fan, you're always gonna throw a little bit of shade on Arsenal, and that's absolutely right. It's rivalry. I get it. I think you're right. Look, Arsenal are nowhere near where they want to be. But do you worry though, as a Spurs fan? Do you worry at all that if Emre is successful and he can get Arsenal back to the superpower that they were, say, 10 years ago, does that concern you as a Spurs fan?
No, mate. Honestly, we've got Pochettino, and I think we're gonna in like 2 seasons we can win the league.
Let me ask you a question as well.
By the way, what about this farce with your new stadium, mate? I'm not being funny. What's going on with your new stadium? Don't you think you should be deducted points? Do you think you should be deducted points?
Once we get this new stadium, get like 2 players, I think we can win the Champions League.
Let me ask you this question though, right? let me ask you this question as a Spurs fan. If you do smash United tonight 4-0, I actually think there will be enough Man United fans screaming for Jose to be sacked. Are you not concerned that Mr. Woodward may knock on the door of Daniel Levy's and say, we're going to give you the compensation we want, Maurizio Pochettino at Manchester United? Are you concerned that he might have his head turned by a much bigger football club?
Well, Ed Woodward?
Yeah, do you think Man United could turn Pochettino's head?
I'm not too sure. Mate. Honestly, I don't know much about all that, but...
The reason I say that is because he had his head turned by... Spurs are a much bigger team. Would you say that Spurs are a much bigger team than Southampton?
I think we're a bigger team than Man United.
I don't know. Come on.
No! You're an amazing playing team. Bigger than Man United. Oh my God. Thank you. Good bless. Good night. Is it good? Bigger than Man United. Look, they play better football than Man United right now. There's no doubt. But bigger than Man United. Not on your Nelly. Not on your Nelly. Not on your Nelly. Sorry. I was gone. Devon's on Skype. Let's get Devon on, and then we're going to move on to talk about Wolverhampton Wanderers and Manchester City. We're going to get him on in a minute. Wow. That cool. That's Spurs. He's happy boy, isn't he? Happy boy. Bigger than Man United. Oh, it's all going wrong. It's all going wrong. What's Javern done? We're up on the screen. You look. Look, see, I can see myself waving. Can you see the delay? Look at that, see? When what's happening, Javern? Oh, is he? Cool. Let's read some of these comments. This is here. Delusional. What has Spurs won in the last 5 years? Harry Kane is overrated, not world class, too slow, and that's from James Doherty. Spurs fans are delusional. Spurs will outplay United tonight, but Jose is parking the bus. Yeah, Man United starting lineup. I don't know what to make of it. You've got Drifty here from the Football Banter Show has come out and called Jose Mourinho a coward manager for dropping Bailly and Lindelof and replacing them after their poor performance last week. It's an interesting one. Does that make Jurgen Klopp a coward for getting rid of Karius and bringing in a new goalie after a mistake?
Yeah.
Does that make Jurgen Klopp?
He's been ruthless.
Does that make Jurgen Klopp a coward because he didn't stick with Cavani and Matip and he brought in Van Dijk? I don't think it does. I think it makes him ruthless, and I think it makes him want to improve things. But
Who said that?
that's Drifty from the Football Banter Show. He's obviously just Fran shaped, but it's someone actually said to me earlier. Actually, they said the same thing. Right, as a Liverpool fan, he was like, "Why does Jose need a world-class centre back? He was the one who bought Bailly and Lindelof." And I'm like, "Well, why did Liverpool need Van Dijk when they already bought Cavani and Matip? Because they were decent defenders, but they weren't at that level that's going to win you titles." Is Devon ready on the Skype call? Devo,
I'm ready, man.
You
You
there,
guys
mate?
ready for me? What's going on, guys? How you feeling?
We can't hear him.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Ready for this game. Ready to watch this match. I'm
Right, you're an Arsenal.
working here at the house, so it's
You're an Arsenal fan, right? So, who do you want to win
Yes.
tonight? Do you want Man United to win, or is it better to? Or are you sort of on this sort of the bandwagon at the moment and just want to see Man United crash and burn under Jose Mourinho? Where's your mind at as a Gooner?
I would really just like to see a good match. I think that there's a lot of quality on the pitch. Obviously, I'm hoping for no injuries, and a draw would be best case scenario for me. Both teams dropping is best case scenario as an Arsenal fan.
Absolutely. And as a Gooner, myself and Claude have been talking about Arsenal's performance. You've had sort of 48 hours to reflect on that now. You still feeling positive after the game, or are you sort of still? I feel like there's been a lot of negativity still from sort of some Arsenal fans in the media about the sort of development of Arsenal under Unai Emery. Where's your mind on things now?
This is the first time that I've actually not felt negative. I see a lot of development, and you and I have talked about this. I think Unai Emery needs to make the full squad changes that we've discussed. I think against Cardiff it would be great to see Leno. It would be great to see Torreira from the start. I don't really understand why Xhaka's played something like 57 of 58 or 59 straight matches for you.
Having said,
I would like to see. Say again.
Having said that, I thought his second half of on Saturday, I thought he played quite well actually. And I'm not his biggest fan. I'm not Xhaka's biggest fan, but I thought he played quite well second half.
Agreed, and he played better when he had Torreira as a defensive. The biggest thing, Claude, that I've noticed about Xhaka is we signed him as a CDM from Borussia Mönchengladbach, and he's not a CDM. He's also not a center mid, and he's not a center attacking mid. So, what is he? And I've seen the system that we play be like this mutated 4-3-3, which is why Ozil doesn't fit. So, I think we're in that transition period. We're in that grace period that I've discussed on the Ultimate FanPark or Ultimate Football Fan and FanPark call-ins. But I really wish Emery would take the grace period that the fans are giving him and utilize it. And I don't know, Claude, what are your thoughts on maybe changing up Mustafi and Holding for Mustafi and Socrates for a match with Mavropanos and Holding?
I actually would keep. I'm not watching Socrates. I think he's getting better every game. I think he's okay. I would change Mustafi. Yeah, I would change Mustafi and probably bring Holding alongside him.
I would love. The other thing I was going to ask you is with Bellerin and Mkhitaryan on the right. That's a pairing that's not working. Is there a situation where you could see Bellerin moving up into more of an offensive right mid position or a right wing position and actually bleed in?
There's a problem there. I think we've got too many number 10s playing out of position. I think Mkhitaryan is a number 10. I don't think he's a wide player, and he won't cover back as well. And that's what's exposing Bellerin as well at the same time. But he got 2 assists on Saturday, didn't he, Bellerin, on Saturday? Going forward is fantastic, yeah. Going forward on Saturday was good, but it's that defensive frailties, isn't it? Him and Monreal seem to leave the 2 centre-halves exposed.
Well, and I also think that it's a system where you've got 2 players who are adjusting from playing a 3-5-2 last season, and Bellerin has offensive tendencies. Yeah. So you see Hector Bellerin making the runs because he has the pace and the speed, but he doesn't have the cover that he had last year. It being that, like you said, Mkhitaryan is a 7 playing a 10 role. So,
I get that. Dev, mate, listen, really appreciate you coming on with us this evening. Enjoy tonight's game, and we'll get you on. If you're around, we'll get you on after the game finishes tonight as well.
I'll be around for you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'm going to say 2-2.
Top man.
I'm hoping for a draw.
Top man.
Nice
Cheers,
speaking
Devo.
to you, mate.
See you later. Take care.
Same to you, Claude. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Wolves versus... I can hear myself in my own ears. This is weird. There we go. It's gone. Wolves versus Manchester City. We saw Pep Guardiola kind of lose his temper a little bit with the officials towards the end. I mean, look.
Do you know what I liked about Wolves? Though? They
Yeah,
gave it a go.
Do you think they gave it a go, or do you think they parked the bus and countered well?
No, I thought they countered well, but also they weren't as negative as Newcastle were. Newcastle were very negative in their game, but I thought Wolves. I think they played some really good football.
Look, do you know what they do? I'm a big fan of Wolves. I've got a legitimate soft spot for them because I was very much with my old job. I was very much involved with a lot of the players coming to the UK. I know a lot of them. I've had a good long conversations with the manager. I know the chairman and the owner of the football club. Like I've been very lucky to have a lot of inside dealings with them. Wonderful people, a club with a great attitude trying to move forward. But when you look at their game, I spoke about this the other day. I mean, they had a little bit less. They had a little bit more of the ball. I think so. For instance, yesterday Newcastle had 18% of it, and they had 28%. So they had 10% more of the ball. I would say Wolverhampton Wanderers have much better, for me, have better players than Newcastle, which helps. The difference between both teams was this for me. When Wolves won the ball, they had more belief in themselves to go forward with not too many numbers, but 3, 4, 5 people attacking on the counter. They held on to possession at times as well, went to nullified games. I felt with what Newcastle did wrong yesterday, again, I can hear myself in my ears. Jeez. What Newcastle did wrong for me is they sat back. I can still hear myself. It's annoying me. Sorry. I don't know how I can hear it. You're the one who's controlling it, Javern. I don't know. What Newcastle did wrong for me, it's about the 5th time I said that now, is they won the ball back sometimes. They broke down the play, they got the ball back, and they just, for me, like they hoofed it long, or it was 1 or 2 guys tried to create a tin pot counter-attack. And I think parking the bus football, if we call it that, I'm fine to call it that, pragmatic football, the best teams at doing it, you look at Atletico Madrid, Conte's Chelsea, the year they won it. It's where they sit back and defend well. When they counter, it's 4, 5, 6 people in numbers with purpose, with sheer quality that stream forward. That's how you play that way football. We saw France do it magnificently well in games at the World Cup. I felt what Newcastle did in comparison to Wolves is they won the ball back and then they had no desire to try and break them down or do anything, which was weird because they had a go at Spurs, but not Chelsea. And I would say Spurs are a better team than Chelsea. So it's weird what goes through the mind of these players and managers.
And the trouble with that as well, if you're playing that way as well, to have only 20% possession, eventually you're going to get broken down. Yeah. Because you tire because the other team has got so much of the ball and you're chasing that ball all throughout the game and you're going to tire, and in the end, Chelsea, it paid off for Chelsea, you know.
No, I completely and utterly agree with you. And look, Chelsea were value for their result in the end, and we spoke about that yesterday. On Wolverhampton Wanderers, it's a difficult one because you know they've done well so far in their transition into the Premier League. And what I like about Nuno is that I'm not a believer in this. There's only one way to play. I understand with Unai Emery at the moment, he's making his team play a certain way so they get used to the fact of playing out from the back. But I think what you'll see with Emery, I like what Nuno does. I love what Pochettino has done at Spurs, is that they will adapt. They play a particular way 95%, 98% of the time. But then on 2 or 3 occasions against certain teams, they will adapt it slightly to be able to compete. Because again, if Wolves go toe to toe with City, they get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, well, anyone will.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than Liverpool, because Liverpool actually need you to go toe to toe with them. But what I really like about Nuno is the way he's a team adapted to that game. You know, they managed 11 shots on goal, only 2 on target, which will disappoint them. They managed 11 shots on goal against arguably the best Premier League team of all time. If they end up winning the league back to back after the points haul last year, to do that in your first season moving back into the Premier League and not looking outclassed at times, I think Wolves, I'm desperate for them to stay because I would really like to see what their owners, they've got a lot of money. They are talking about very, very rich people with a huge connection to Jorge Mendes. It'd be interesting to see what they can do if they establish themselves over the next couple of years in the Premier League. They've got that regular income coming with the money their owners have got. They literally could be a team that threatens the top 6 stranglehold because of the money they've got and because of everything else surrounding them. They really, really could.
Yeah, they've got there was the one who was playing on the wide. I forgot his name now, but he was very impressive. The wingers were very impressive going forward.
Which you mean Jota?
Yeah,
or Helga Costa?
The one
Helga Costa.
Was it Helder Costa? Yeah.
Could have been Helder Costa. I mean, they've got some. When I go through that,
what I'm saying, I thought when they got the ball wide and down the flanks, they really caused Man City a lot of problems.
They did, and the thing is, you have to be brave. I think when you play Liverpool, when you play City, the best two teams in the Premier League, for me, you have to play pragmatically. You have to sit back and absorb, and then you have to counter. But when you counter, you need. So when I watched them try and counter, you had normally Martinho spraying the ball out. You had Neves always involved. You would have Johnny and Doherty going forward. Helder Costa and Jota. They ain't scared of anybody. They went forward in numbers. They went forward with purpose. They went forward with measure. That's how you get results against these sides that are amazing at football right now. It's the only way you do it. If you're too negative, if you're too scared to attack, which is what I saw with Newcastle against Chelsea yesterday, you make it exceedingly difficult to get a positive result. One mistake, so it can be a silly foul you give away, it can be a defensive error, and the game. And actually, both of Newcastle's goals were from a penalty that I didn't really think was one, and then a poor own goal. And you think so. They lost because of two mistakes, but they brought the mistakes on themselves by being so negative.
I think that's the mistakes are happening because they're tired, because they've had hardly any of the ball, and you're chasing. When you're chasing a game with hardly not having the ball, it makes it much more difficult, and I think that's what's caused in the end the two mistakes. But
somebody here says Jota cost 39 million. That's more than Salah, Mane, and Salah. No, Jota did not cost £39 million. Where have you got that from? That is they bought him on a loan last year with a right to buy this year. He was a very cheap acquisition for Premier League signings. So I mean, people don't know their facts on this.
I did say before the game that Man City were going to have a difficult game against them, and I actually thought Man City would win it just 2-1. 2-1, and then he did win it 2-1 in the end.
Cool.
But
we've got a few calls we're going to get on the air. Just before it comes through, though, as well, what we do have a poll on my Twitter account. That's at Terry Flewers TFT, at Terry Flewers TFT. Who will win tonight between Spurs and United? Currently, 58% of the people voting for United, 28% voting for Spurs, and 15% voting for the draw. So go and check that out. Go and stick your votes on there, and we'll take a few more calls before we end tonight's show. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello, my name is Matthew, and I'm a Fulham fan.
Hello, Matthew. How are you doing, young man?
Good, thank you.
Good,
How about
good.
you?
I'm very, very well. What's on your mind? What would you like to say? Who do you want to talk about?
Can I talk to Claude? Because about Arsenal, the man we had on FaceTime earlier said that Xhaka wasn't a CDM, a centre mid, or an attacking midfielder. And I think that's right. But Fulham, I thought this was Fulham last year. And I just want to point out that because we play very attacking with fullbacks, when we go forward, our central defensive midfielder, which is Kevin McDonald, drops in between the two centre-backs and makes it a back three. And I don't know whether Emery does that, but that's what Fulham did, and it worked for them very well. And we always had three defenders at the back. I don't know whether Torreira can play in that position or Xhaka can play in that position, but really they need a player who's going to stick with the two centre-backs when Arsenal are attacking. And
that's a very
when they're going forward.
That's a good call. Yeah, that is a good call. I think Torreira would be the player that would do that. Would play that role better than anyone else. But I think he does. So you, how did you think of Fulham on getting off to a good start? Getting off the mark now. How do you feel for their season?
I think we played well. I went to the Palace and I went to the Tottenham away game. The first 20 minutes were a shambles, and I think every single game we're looking at ticks better just from gelling. And I was opening 4 minutes. Jean-Michael said, "Take a bow." That was a brilliant strike. And then Andre Schürrle was my man on that. He was everywhere. He was left, he was right, he tracked back. He got his goal. Mitrovic was brilliant. I think because everyone hyped up Ryan at the start of the season, and I particularly didn't know because I've been watching Fulham for the last 6 years, and I haven't seen Ryan Sessegnon do anything apart from tap in a goal. So I don't know what your thoughts of him are so far, but he was dropped on Sunday, and in my opinion, Schürrle and Vietto were brilliant. I don't think Ryan Sessegnon should start in our game while Schürrle and Vietto were fit.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, right. I mean, he had a brilliant season last year, yeah. Wasn't he voted the player of the league last year, Ryan Sessegnon?
Yeah, Ryan Sessegnon is an absolute.
But
he's class acting and making.
It's early days, yeah. He might, he's just first 3 games. Yeah, he's still a. I think he's, from what I've seen of him,
the Championship club's just gone up.
Sorry.
We need to cement our place in the Premiership, and we need to play our best players the whole time. And I think Ryan Sessegnon is in our top 11, in our top 3 going forward.
Oh, interesting. Oh, well, that's an interesting point of view because a lot of top clubs are touting him. So,
Mate, really appreciate your call, Matthew, and we'll speak to you again, young man. Thank you.
Can I just say that I love everything you're doing in here, and that I think you're great, and I listen to you every single day. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Top man. Thank you very much. All the best.
Right.
Cheers.
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's an intelligent
Very
young man.
intelligent young kid who clearly works hard at school, listens to his parents, and isn't reactionary. And it's nice to actually hear a kid talk properly.
Yeah,
I think actually it's funny, right? I sometimes feel like we over celebrate sort of like the wrong behaviours in people sometimes, and that kid, very smart young man. So and well pointed. And knows what he's talking about without being rude. Without being rude, like I feel a lot of people make a lot of good points, but people often are. And you can be.
Dig at me, Terry.
No, not overly. But what I mean is, we all do it. I do it. I certainly know sometimes I'm rude. But that kid there, that was a really good and intelligent call. It really, really was. Let's get some more calls through, please, Javerne, mate.
Surprised that he doesn't rate.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello, my name's Stephen.
Hello, Stephen. Who do you support, mate?
Of course, sport for Liverpool.
Do you?
Yeah, yes, mate.
Whereabouts in Liverpool you from yourself?
Sorry, mate?
Whereabouts in Liverpool you from yourself?
You know, Liverpool, man.
Yeah, whereabouts in Liverpool?
In Liverpool.
Yeah, but it's a big city. Whereabouts?
Merseyside.
Yeah, but whereabouts in Merseyside? What town?
Melwood, like near that area.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I moved out today
cool.
when I was younger.
What's on your mind? What do you want to say?
Honestly, I think it'll be a tight game today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you reckon?
Yeah, tight maybe. I think Spurs are going to win. I think they're going to win by a couple of clear goals. I think they'll beat Man United. I have very little confidence at the moment.
For a draw, really, more than
How about yourself?
What do you think of Liverpool this season?
What do I think of Liverpool?
Yes, mate.
I think I've started off very, very well. I think the most impressive thing that I've found is in the last couple of games where they haven't been at their best on an attacking front, they have grinded out the results, which they weren't doing before. We all know with yourselves, when you click into absolute full gear when it comes to your performances, you're going to smash a lot of teams. You're definitely title contenders, and I think you've got a great chance of winning a trophy or two this year.
Yeah. What do you think you're not going to finish? What do you think the score's going to be today?
I'm going to go with a 3-1 to Spurs. I still think Man United will finish in the top 4, but they even need to
3-1?
3-1 Spurs, yeah.
I'm going to go for a draw today. I'm going to go 1-1.
Well, 3-1's quite a big margin.
Yeah, like I said, Spurs will beat United. That's my belief.
Well, United are a bit shit this season. I think Mourinho's the biggest problem. You know, I think if he goes, I think you'll have a good chance of finishing like at least top 2.
Potentially, I think it's a bigger problem than Jose Mourinho. I think there's an issue. We will be in the short term, but I think if we bow down to player power right now and people not adhering to the manager's tactics, where does it end? You know, you bring in, just say we just bring in, say Sir Alex Ferguson comes back and we win the league. As soon as he falls out with one of these new modern day players and they decide to stop playing for him, if we let that become part of our culture, the same thing will ensue again. So it's not about the manager for me. I'm not worried about Jose Mourinho anymore. It's about protecting the security and the control and power of the head coach, stroke manager of Manchester United.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Claude, can I talk to Claude real quick?
Yeah, go on. Ask him a question, mate. Go on.
Yeah, ask him a question.
Cheers, mate. I do not believe he was from Liverpool. His average accent.
Yeah, we know that he was dipping in and out of the accent.
Yeah, he was dipping in and out. He couldn't tell. Like, I didn't expect him to give me his full address, but he literally was like...
I think he Googled Millwall.
Yeah, he was like, where am I from? He was trying to think of where he knew. Where in Liverpool are you from? Merseyside. It's not a town. Melwood. Really? Okay, cool.
More like Liverpool Street is wrong. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, one of them ones. But I mean what I've said there before about Man United. I'm not even discussing Jose in, Jose out anymore. I'm happy for him to go if it's because bad behaviour, because the board actually gone, do you know what, we made a mistake, we want to get great football back. I'm not happy for him to go if it's about appeasing individual players. If it's about them, if they're not working for him because they don't like him, it isn't good. Somebody said to me earlier as well, like, it's you know, people have the right to down tools when they're not happy with their bosses, and I think that's only right to a certain extent. It depends what has actually happened, but if he's been that bad, that much of a bully, that much of a bad manager and a bad man and a nasty toxic guy, then the board just need to get rid of him. Why is he still there? None of it adds up. So that's one of those things. We've got more calls waiting, Jay.
I think the return of Valencia tonight is a big boost for United as well.
Sorry?
The return of Valencia tonight is a big boost for United.
Yeah, I agree. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
My name's Hamad.
Mohammed?
Yeah.
Hey, who do you support, mate?
That's for Liverpool, mate.
Good. What's on your mind? What do you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to talk about the whole, what's your expectations for Liverpool, and if you're in the bandwagon of Klopp needs to get sacked if he's going to win a trophy soon.
Who said he needs to be sacked if he doesn't win a trophy soon?
It's not that he needs to be sacked, but I feel like a lot of fans that are not Liverpool fans are giving him deadlines.
Well, I think I wouldn't necessarily look. I don't really give deadlines as such. I think everything needs to be put into context. I think that when you create a team that plays this great of football, you've now created a team that's defending well. When you've spent the volume of money of which he has, I do believe there should be an expectation to lift trophies when you're a giant club like Liverpool. Equally, just because you don't win, say you don't win a trophy this year, we have to assess what's happened. You may not win a trophy, but you could lose a Champions League final again and finish 1 point off the title. Then you'd say, no, don't sack him. However, you finish 6th and go out early in all the competitions, maybe there's room for a conversation. So just saying because you haven't won a trophy you need to be sacked, I think is ridiculous. You need more context than that. However, I think what he does need to do for this season to be considered successful is legitimately challenge for the title and go deep into all the competitions, because you've got a great squad, a deep squad, you're playing brilliant, the atmosphere is great. But you as a Liverpool fan, what do you expect from Klopp and the boys this season?
But this year, either a far run in the Champions League or the Premier League. I really want to push City, but I also don't think people are taking into account that we're probably facing the toughest team in Premier League history. So that's why if Klopp doesn't win the league or come second in quite a margin, I don't really think that's a really a valid way to judge him.
Mate, I agree with you. Like, last year I was calling for Klopp's head. Some of it was a little bit flippantly because I was being a little bit reactionary, but it's also I was talking about the fact that he wasn't addressing the defensive situations and managing games properly, and you were losing so many leads. Since January, Van Dijk's been a big part of it, but the game management from Jurgen Klopp, generally speaking, has been brilliant. You won't shut up shop, but you'll slow your pace of the game down. Once you hit 65, 70 minutes, you'll manage things out. The management from Jurgen Klopp has been phenomenal since then. How long is too long, though, without winning a trophy? I'd love to... so, in terms of... Let's just say the football remains brilliant, but how long would you give him playing this brilliant football with this squad until you say, we have to change?
I don't even care about how the football's been played, to be honest. If every year the caliber of player is increasing for what's come to us, I can't really... Trophies are trophies, and obviously Liverpool haven't won one in a while, but if he's contending for the league, and there's a reason why players like Alisson and Naby Keita are trying to come to us. I think if we contend for the league and Liverpool keep on developing, the players next year especially are going to increase as well. So if we don't win a trophy, but every year the level of players that are coming in are higher and higher, I can't blame Klopp. I have to blame the players.
Okay, so what you're saying, on a managerial level, as long as there's high quality of players and you're challenging, you would be happy to keep Klopp as manager theoretically forever, even if you don't win a single thing.
I feel obviously there's going to be a point which I would say if you don't win nothing, I think this is the first year I'm giving expectations for him. But if he doesn't succeed this year, I'm going to give him probably one more year. If he doesn't win a trophy the year after, I do think we probably have to look for another manager. All I'm saying is I feel he's bringing the players in, he's making the system, he's giving the players a platform. Instead of looking at Klopp at this point in time, I would really look at the players who don't win a trophy this year.
Okay. Mate, listen, really appreciate your viewpoints and opinions. Thanks for giving us a bell, mate.
No worries. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Again, I don't disagree with a lot of what he said. I mean, there are people calling for Klopp's head if he doesn't win something. I hate that because you need to put everything into context. You know, a lot of people said at the beginning of this year, if Jose don't win the league, he's got to go. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what if he got 101 points and City got 102? You would never. So just tone it down a bit.
What I like about Liverpool
nonsense
this year, it looked at so far. I mean, it's early days.
Yeah.
It looks like now they've got their defence sorted out. They look like they're more compact at the back. They look like they've got a top-class keeper at last. Yeah, and that's the most important thing. You don't concede goals, and they're always going to score at the other end. They're there. But as you say, Man City are going to be a bit difficult to overtake. I mean, you're talking about a team.
This is YouTube fans watching here. He says here, whenever I come here, he's talking about Liverpool. That's because a Liverpool fan phoned up and asked me a question about Liverpool. One thing I would say about some Liverpool fans, Spurs fans are doing it recently as well. Now you're a giant club again and you're competing. Expect platforms that discuss football to talk about your team. If you can't handle it, I think you need to toughen up a little bit. And again, have I sat here and said anything derogatory about Liverpool? I've praised them and your manager. Calm your brain down, you snowflake. A little bit more of a roundup.
You did go on about that penalty last week.
Yeah, because it was a dive, and I stand by that. It was a damn dive. And if a Man United player dives tonight, you'll see me do exactly the same thing.
I'll be watching that.
Well, you will watch. I'm not even bothered about that. Terry, can you tell Claude that I love his hand movement when he is talking? That's from Joshua Pritchard. Loves how you think you talk with your hands. One other team I want to talk about a little bit. Everton at the weekend. Threw away a 2-0
that's
lead.
That's the Italian in me.
The Everton threw away a 2-0 lead. Richarlison getting himself stupidly sent off for I wouldn't call it headbutt. He tapped his head. That's not an that's not an headbutt. But it is a sending off offence in football.
Shame because he had a good start of the season.
He did. How do you think Everton are looking under Marco Silva? Do you think he's doing a good job yet? Have you seen sort of a good evolution so far from how they were playing under Sam Allardyce, or do you still think it's very, very early days?
It is early days. I mean, I thought once they're going 2-0 up, they'd coast that game, and then suddenly Bournemouth. They've done that before with Everton, didn't they? Come back against Everton. It's a shame because I thought they deserved they looked well on. I thought Theo Walcott, that goal. I mean, that was a brilliant goal he scored on Saturday. It was a fantastic goal, and he looks like he's back. He's finding his feet now again. You know what I mean? I think they'll be there or thereabout. I think they'll be probably 6th or 7th in the league this season. They'll be there or thereabout. They've got a good coach as well. So,
would you be gutted if they finished above you guys? Do you think they could finish above Arsenal?
Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. I mean, as I say, it's going to be one of them seasons. You don't know how it's going to go. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like Arsenal, that they've got a long way to go. There is a lot of development, and some teams sometimes they get a new manager and there's a little like they jumpstart the season. They start off very well. They might peter out a little bit. Marco Silva's still got a lot to prove because at Hull he didn't actually keep them up, although they played really good football. And then I think he got relegated with Hull. I think he did. Then he went to Watford, and I know that he had he was playing brilliantly, winning games, and then he was linked with a move away, and it all fell apart after that. But there is a bit of pressure on him because if he goes like 5 months into this job and suddenly the world falls apart, I doubt he'll get another big job. Does that make sense? Like in terms of because of it's about history. It's about will it repeat itself again? Was it because he was linked with the Watford job, or is it because everything he does is very much short-termism? Then he might just become a manager that clubs turn to and they need to be saved from relegation. Although he didn't save Hull from relegation, so he hasn't really achieved anything yet in football. You know, he got a team relegated, but playing good football. But it's interesting what attractive football does. He took over Hull because the football became more attractive. Even though they went down, nobody seemed to attack him for it. Does that make sense? Where if you're Sam Allardyce and you take over and you not only save a team from relegation, you get them quite high up in the table, you're still looked at as being rubbish. It's an interesting mindset that football fans have right now on the game. And you just obviously had like the Liverpool fan there to an extent. Like as long as the football's pretty good and the calibre of football grows, they're kind of just happy to have the manager there. Like, I've never thought and I'm hearing a lot of Liverpool fans talk about, I don't really care about winning trophies anymore. You grew up when, and would remember sort of very clearly, when they were a great Liverpool side, that maybe the football weren't at its best, but they were winning regularly. Yeah. Would you ever have expected Liverpool fans now just to settle for attractive football?
No.
From them days?
They used to rule, didn't they, Liverpool? Remember, Man United went through the same cycle that Liverpool were going through, remember?
Yeah, of course.
Because they went all them years without winning the league.
I think it was 30-odd years or so that United went without winning. I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head. United went a good 30, I think it was 30-odd years. I'm going to go and have a check, actually.
Wasn't it 67 till, was it 67?
Something like that. I don't know.
1967 when and then they went till.
We won it in 1967, and we didn't win it again until 1993. So not quite as many years as I thought. Actually, that's another team I'm thinking about. But it was a long time that Manchester United went without winning it. So
not
26 years. 26
92
years it was.
They won it there.
Well, it was a 92-93 season. So 90. It was
1993.
You're
right.
26 years it was.
Right,
I'm thinking about somebody else who was 30 odd years. Yeah, 26 years, which is still a long time.
Liverpool going through the same
very
thing.
long time. Yeah, absolutely. So it's one of those things. It really, really is. Have we got any more calls ready? Cool. Ooh. So we have got. How long do they last for? Minutes. So we've got some predictions for tonight's game for you. So I'll just give you a quick update on my Twitter poll. I don't know if you guys have gone and checkered that out, as it were. But we've got expressions. We have Flex from the United stand. And, of course, the main man himself at the moment, Rants and Bants, with their predictions for tonight. Currently, my Twitter poll, 56% think Man United are going to win. 23% think Spurs will pick up the victory. And 21% think it will be a draw. Let's see what these three gentlemen have got to say. And we'll be back with you in a few short moments.
Real fan opinions brought to you by Wash and Go.
Good to go.
Number 75. Quick predictions for the game. I'm going to say 1-0 Man United, clean sheet. I might be crazy because of the battering we've just got at Brighton, but I think we're gonna keep a clean sheet and win 1-0. What do you say?
Bruv, I reckon heart saying 1-1, my head saying 2-1 because it's Tottenham, right? Yeah, I just feel like their bums will go, bro. We'll just get the job done. It's going to be ugly, fam, but we're going to get it done.
What you saying?
I'm saying you're smoking weed, fam. Real talk, blood. As for rants or whatever, blood, I think it's going to be minimum 1-1. If not, we're going to get 2-1, and it's going to be Harry Class. He scored before Carnival, fam. Don't cut me off. You had your time, blood. He scored before Carnival. You know them way there.
It might be this,
Harry
it might
Class
be
is going to be coming through. Dele Alli also, after what happened when he came and he started dancing and then we lost, blood, he owes you as well, blood. I want to see some of that. I might not be able to do it, but you need to score me a goal, blood. Just know, fam.
Hold on, just quickly. You went with 2, it might be this or it might be that. What is your prediction, bro?
I said it. 2-1, fam.
All right, cool.
2-1 like a
You heard it. You not heard it. You not heard it. You not heard it.
You need agree, blood.
Wicked.
Good to go.
Number 75.
Quick. Real fan opinions brought to you by Wash and Go.
Do you know what? Them two, I bet Christmas is fun at their house. I bet Christmas is mental at their house. It really, really is. I actually happen to agree with what Expressions just said. That I think Spurs will pick up the victory tonight. I really do. I just get this horrible sense that, from my club's perspective, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And tonight could be a big part of that indeed. But listen, everybody who's tuned in this evening, thank you very, very much. Myself, Claude, and Adam, we are going to be back at around about 9:45, 9:50 after Man United versus Spurs. Do me a massive honour on this live stream. Please smash that like button, hit the share button as well. Whatever platform you are watching on, that would be amazing. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Real fan opinions brought to you by Wash and Go.